just being able to like snap out of the mind and detach from the mind is such a powerful thing to do, because that's who I am. Like, I'm the self. Good evening. Welcome back to In the Khud. This is 8th April 2023, 18:45, 6:45 p.m. and I'm gonna wrap this session up in the next 5 minutes because there isn't anything much to document. It's a Saturday and it's been one of those depressing kind of Saturdays, because naturally so, because there's no fixed amount of work or fixed thing that I have to work on, and whenever the mind is left to figure out what is to be done, there is usually an element of sadness associated with it. So I will just go through a few things that I wrote in the morning that I have to do. The template day is like waking up at the same time and doing all of the responsibilities, and now post after the session going to the gym, that all the template day will be there. But in between time, which is like a bonus time, is what I decided I'll work on the thumbnail Mogart 1 2 3 splits, and I did work on it, but I wasn't quite happy with it. I have to do the Alicia forming documentation. I didn't do that. I had to do the show 1 5 episode making and the CG dive video, make some more character rigify. I did watch a little bit of it and get to what I've understood from that. So for the Mogart, if you see for this thumbnail, I must have used the single one. So this is the thumbnail that I've come up with, and it was to come into Premiere and show you the Mogart. So I have this here, and depending on whatever the images are, I could come in and replace, let's say this with th1. Oh, there's only one here, so this is gonna come in here, and I have control X and control Y. It's basically the same as this, but I don't like these values. I like to play with the slider instead, going from -5 to 5. That's why I did that little thing. And here obviously you can change this face if you want to. I'll take one from here, and then the gradient, I can make it white or I can make this color. This is actually very simple. This split 3 is also same, except for it has these controls where when I move them around, it's gonna stay within the bounds of that mat, so I don't have to worry about orientation. Same with 2, right? I can just move things around and they will stay inside this. And there is this constant thing that I've added on the top. That was one thing that I spent a lot of time figuring out. Then for the rigify thing, if you look at this here, this is Sophie from Mixamo, and you just download it. This is how it comes. So what I was trying to figure is how you can take this armature, and you see currently the scale and everything is not applied. So you want to come in here, firstly select the keyframes and delete them, and you go into pose mode, come into pose, clear transform all. Okay, now you want to select all and say Control A, apply all transformations. Now with the armature, you're gonna go into the pose mode and right click, select all. This is good. Right click, conversion, extract meta rig, and now this will make you select Mixamo as a rig type. This will make a Mixamo rig, and you can just come in here and regenerate rig. So what this does is it creates a rig for you. Now my problem here is that there was some weird kind of bending happening, so I'm just gonna show you in terms of the arm IK. So this is my arm. If I go into pose mode, when I was taking this behind, you see this kind of stretching. I don't know why this is happening. Like, what is the reason for that stretching? Because this wasn't the case with, of course I cannot take it so behind, but there has to be a way for this to not happen. And what I concluded was that I can do this. It's usable. It's not that it's not usable. Like, see, you see the elbows are bending weirdly, and this is just like not how I want it to be. So what I figured out is I had taken this course by CG Dive, which is all about rigging everything with rigify. So I'm going to take that course very seriously and understand the fundamentals of how you use rigify to rig a character, instead of doing it this Mixamo way and using this XPKit plugin to make things. Because what happens is, yes, this plugin, you just click a few buttons here and there and gives you a rig which you can control and stuff like those, but the real problem here is the fact that you cannot decode errors. Like, if there's something that's not working fine, I don't quite know what these things here are. Like, I don't know what these things here are. and I don't quite understand how to go and like tweak things if something is not working. Like, what is all of this? So I'm going to do that course fundamentally. Now the only problem here is going to be the fact that I have like a week's time to make an entire animated short with 3 proper scenes for the full-time job. And again, I don't know, I'm very sure it's not going to happen in the course of this 1 week, but just to get started, if I spend way too much time on rigify itself, I don't know how I'm going to be able to finish that. Okay, so that is one thing. And the other thing is go into pose mode and Alt G Alt R. Another issue that I'm facing here is, you see this Mixamo rig, because I don't have a character to work with. The Mixamo rig comes with this kind of situation where the body is separate, the clothing is separate. So like if I have to change the clothing of this character, I don't really have the body to put things on, which is kind of weird. Like, this is how Mixamo does it. Eyelashes, and even the hair. Like, if I have to change the hair, this, I don't quite know what this is. Like the color, I think I can, no, even the color I can't change, because if you go into the shading of these, there are actually some images that they're using as texture. So I am not quite sure how to reuse this character, and I'm supposed to change the clothes of the character in every single scene, and I have to rig the character. So there's a lot of figuring out that has to be done from on that end, and this is looking very inappropriate almost. But yeah, this is where I am at in terms of progress. That's literally all that I did today, and I've hit 7:30. So I just want to talk a little bit before I finish. I want to talk a little bit about there is this video that I'm watching. It's by Pravrajika Divyananda Prana here. She just recently visited USA, and she was on a tour, and she did this, The Goal and the Way. This is in Santa Barbara Vedanta Temple, and this is such a beautiful talk. I recommend everyone to watch this, and like basically all of her content is just so refreshing to watch it. And while I was watching the video, I got this idea yesterday that the mind, which I call my personality and everything, is basically a collection of sense impressions. This is what she said exactly. And what struck me is the fact that the mind is something that I've accumulated over time. Like, it wasn't like this when I was born. Like, I didn't know about Blender or After Effects or any of this that I'm doing right now. So the mind, what I call the mind, is something that I've like accumulated, almost collected, like these objects, like this AC remote, this cover, these things I have collected over time. And similarly is the case with the mind. The only difference being that the mind has this very weird or strange ability to appear conscious, and it borrows consciousness from me, the consciousness. So I am here and the mind is in front of me, and if you can just detach yourself from the mind, that is the solution to all problems of life, because all misery, all struggle, all despair, all desires, all jealousies, all pleasures are in the mind. Like, they're not in me, the self. So just being able to like snap out of the mind and detach from the mind is such a powerful thing to do, because that's who I am. Like, I'm the self without any paintings of the mind. And like, I tend to spend so much of my life thinking that I am the mind, and we're so strongly conditioned with the fact that the mind is all there is and I am the mind, and when the mind wants something, I feel I want that. You use it whenever you want to. Like, for example, this is the mind telling me that I have to press G2, G3 and G1. This is like the calculations the mind is doing. So of course the mind is very useful. So you use it as much as you want, but you don't let the mind use you. You try staying away at a distance from the mind. So on that note, I'm going to end today's documentation. That was it from In the Khud. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch you tomorrow, or maybe not, because tomorrow is Sunday and I'm not sure if I'm going to be having anything worth documenting. If not, I'll catch you on Monday. Peace.